It's championship time here again in the premier conference in the nation in women's gymnastics, and glory is at stake. It's the 2012 SEC Gymnastics Championships tonight. Last year, the University of Alabama's championship run began here, winning the SECs and then rolling all the way to their 5th NCAA team title. The Crimson Tide have been thinking repeat all season, but if they're to win back-to-back SEC championships, they will have to go through the top team in the nation, the Gators of the University of Florida. The #1 ranked Gators' only loss came at the hands of their rivals, the Crimson Tide. Florida is here tonight not only to win the SEC title, but to avenge their loss to Alabama. And don't forget the local favorites. The Georgia Gym Dogs have won 16 SEC titles and are peaking at just the right time. And with the crowd behind them, anything can happen. 7 teams compete tonight for bragging rights. It's the 2012 SEC Championships on ESPN. Welcome to the arena at Gwinnett Center in Duluth, Georgia for the 2012 SEC Gymnastics Championship. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Hi everyone, I'm Bart Connor, and I'm glad you've joined us for tonight's competition. It's going to be terrific because 5 of the top 10 teams in the country come from the powerhouse SEC. And I'm joined, as always, by Kathy Johnson-Clark and Suzanne Yocklin. Last year, the storyline really came down to the Gators and the Crimson Tide. That could be the case again this year.
I tell you what, Florida is extraordinarily talented and very deep, and they've certainly earned their #1 ranking. The interesting thing is Coach Rhonda Fain adopted a new philosophy, a new strategy this year, and they are not peaking too soon. Most important, they're healthy going into the postseason. Last year, they kind of limped into the championship season. This year, they're unbelievable. Most important thing I can say, 4 unbelievably talented all-arounders. In fact, you could take each all-arounder and put them on their own team, any of the other teams, and they'd be their top all-arounder. Put it together, that could be a fantastic result. However, they have got to beat a team that knows how to win.
That's right, and University of Alabama is the only team in the country to beat #1 Florida this season. And the Crimson Tide is the only team in the SEC to go undefeated through the entire regular season of competition. And like you mentioned, Kathy, they know how to win. Sarah Patterson knows how to prepare her team for postseason. Last year, not only did they win the SEC championships, but they also went on to win the NCAA regionals and the national title. There's nothing they'd like to do better than to repeat that trifecta.
Now, of course, those are the 2 top teams in the SEC, but there's 7 great teams, and we are just 42 miles away from the University of Georgia. We're expecting a big pro gym dog crowd here tonight, and certainly they carry a lot of momentum coming into this competition.
Absolutely, Bart. Not only did the Gym Dogs win and beat UCLA just 2 weeks ago, but they are just down the road, and the fans are piling in here right now, and Georgia has the perfect draw for being close to home, and that's finishing on the floor exercise. So being close to home can make a difference this year.
And I might add, perhaps the dark horse could be LSU. This is a strong, young, talented team. They're peaking at the right time. They don't have the same pressure as Dee Bro says. They have nothing to lose, so it could be very, very exciting.
All right, let's take a look at the competition format. We're going to be seeing actually 7 teams compete, 4 simultaneously, and 3 teams on a bye each time. 6 gymnasts will compete for each team on each event, with just the top 5 scores counting towards their event totals. And with the luck of the draw, 3 of the 4 top teams that we'll be seeing tonight will be competing in this first rotation coming up. So the Georgia Gym Dogs will open it up on vault, Alabama on the bars, Florida goes to the treacherous balance beam in the first rotation, and Arkansas will be on the floor. Those numbers that you see are their RQS, their regional qualifying scores. Florida has a slight advantage going into this first rotation. First up for Florida on the balance beam, Randy Stageberg. She says she likes the leadoff role, doesn't she?
And this is a great event for Florida to start on. It's not enviable in that it's the most challenging event to begin on, but this is a chance for Florida to show whether they are a championship team, if they can take it and use it to their advantage.
But for me as a coach, I would love starting on balance beam, particularly when you're as strong as Florida is. They have not counted a fall the entire season, so if they can put this sort of make it or break it event behind them with a good start, that really, sets them up for the rest of the competition.
And puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the field.
Coach Rhonda Fain said Randy Stageberg has really worked hard on her mental training this year, and that's paying off.
She is exactly the same in practice and in competition every single day. And you can see in that dismount, it was easy and it just flowed right to the landing.
We often talk about that key role of that leadoff performer. Well, Florida got what they needed out of Randy Stageberg here in the first rotation. First up for Georgia on the vault will be Chelsea Davis, the young freshman out of Austin, Texas.
Now, this is Georgia's weakest event. Got a big question mark. Certainly not on this landing, though. That was fantastic.
That was, and you know, Coach Jay Clark wanted to start out strong, so he put someone who could stick right up right away.
We go over now to bars. Kim Jacob will be ready to go for the Crimson Tide.
She's coming on strong right now for Alabama. She's only competed recently at the last part of the season, but has been very, very consistent. And that's what Alabama needs right now, is just a really, really nice beginning, strong start. Typically, their first couple up on this event are a little bit lower than most of the other top teams in the conference.
This is the one event that they've had a few miscues on throughout the course of the season, so they're really trying to hit their stride as they go into the postseason. Nice release move, good amplitude.
Almost every single athlete in this competition has a 10-0 start value, so the officials really have to look at the little things, and landings become critical.
That is a gorgeous one. No deduction there.
That's exactly what you need, especially on that first event.
Boy, don't you get a different feel in the air here at the SEC Championships. So much energy in this arena. Intensity. Sure, there are a lot of nerves. They're trying to calm them as this competition starts. Noel Couch is the workhorse of Georgia. She competes in the all-around every meet.
Yeah! I knew it! I knew it! She always sticks. This was a great strategy of Georgia, putting the top two gymnasts up first in the vaulting lineup. The girls that can go back-to-back with sticks and get that momentum going for Georgia. They needed that right here at the beginning of the competition.
We worried about nerves in the first rotation, and all three of these top teams just got stuck landings.
The thing that's amazing about Florida this year is that they have 4 gymnasts that are ranked in the top 15 in the country.
Packed in one team, isn't that amazing?
Coach Rhonda Fain has had the golden touch in terms of recruiting former U.S. national team members, no question about it. This is Alaina Johnson, just a sophomore.
Very talented. She combines artistry and a nice level of difficulty, good variety of skills. I expect a lot from her in this competition.
You know, I remember last year, excuse me, Kathy, I remember last year she was a little nervous during her beam performance. Interesting to see what she can deliver here.
I was just saying, she's so much tougher mentally. Now, they rearranged the routine. Rhonda wanted something that was a little bit more comfortable, that she could really attack and be comfortable with.
This place is crazy right now. The Georgia fans are all over Georgia on vaulting, and Alaina's got to focus in on balance beam and stay composed.
Look at that. That was our question mark on vault, and she came up with a big one.
And the fans are loving it. Alaina here still got to keep it together because Florida's counting 2 scores below a 9-8 on balance beam before her, and she needs to get the scores up for Florida.
Another combination, dismount, aerial cartwheel into a full, gorgeous.
Let me update you on the scores there. You're right, Randy Stageberg had a 9.725, Rachel Spicer a 9.75, so the score's a little tight in the first rotation for Florida on the beam.
Her dismount is a great dismount, side aerial to a full twist, meets the requirements, and typically is an easier dismount to stick.
Take a look at the scores for Georgia on vault. Chelsea Davis a 9.85, Noel Couch a 9.875, Sarah Persinger a 9.8, Kaylan Earls a 9.8. So scores a little tight on vault, just like they are on beam for Florida.
Not quite as good as I have seen her do that vault. Still a nice vault.
Back to the beam now for Florida. Ashanee Dickerson.
Watch how she calms herself. Deep breath. She closes her eyes. She concentrates, focuses. This is a hard-working gymnast in the gym.
I can't say enough about how difficult it is to compete right now on balance beam in this arena with Georgia just knocking it out on vaulting. It is so loud in
Geralen
here.
Stack-Eaton is on the bars for Alabama.
This is always a great routine for them. They need a big score from her. Oh, no, Ashanee has a little bit of a break after the layout step out. As you said, Suzanne, this takes tremendous concentration and focus when you have the most nerves you've experienced all year round. Great routine.
Absolutely terrific. And like you said, Bart, the scores are tight, and they've been tight on the uneven bars as well.
Scores range from 9.75 to Sarah DeMeo. up to a 9.85 for Ashley Sledge. Jacob and Clark both had 9.8s as well.
Ashanee is calming down a bit, but she's just a little tight.
Sometimes you just need to get that routine started. She's really had no major mistakes at all after that first wobble at the beginning.
Back to Georgia on the vault as well. Cat ding.
It's a decent vault, but unfortunately she could not come up with a stuck landing, and she usually does, so I know she's a little disappointed in the landing.
Absolutely. I was expecting more out of her in that anchor position.
Last year we noticed that Florida was a little tight. They gave up some tenths of a point on beam, and that cost them in this team championship. Alabama won it. We go back to Alabama on the bars now. Ashley Priess, what a story she is. Set out all last year with surgeries, and this year she has just been an amazing contributor to the Crimson Tide.
Graduated early, has started graduate school, so she has an amazing load, but an amazing opportunity, and she's such a grateful athlete.
And watch the second half of her bar routine. She's added a third major release to this routine. Even though she's adding another skill, it actually shortens the routine. Sarah really wanted her to focus on her dismount. Here it is, a Corkina, so she's got 3 major releases. And Sarah says that really helps her set up for the double layout dismount.
Fantastic 13, pipe down just a little bit.
She saved that dismount, though. She actually could have gone down to her knees if she wasn't fighting so hard.
One of those 2 solid all-arounders for the Crimson Tide, Ashley Priess and Geralen Stack-Eaton. They are really impressive anchors for this team on every event.
You could see her face when she came off the podium. She knew she was lucky to pull this out. Not lucky, she worked for it, but she had to work right here. Had a little bit of a pike, but she held onto the landing, didn't let her legs buckle all the way.
Pressure builds for Florida on the balance beam. Kytra Hunter, you talk about a sensation as a freshman for the Gators. She has really contributed a lot this year.
This is a bundle of talent. Wait till you see their dismount on this event. It is such a high double back. She's very smooth, too.
She's beautiful up there, and she's been one of the most consistent on the balance beam this year for Florida, only missing 1 time. They need big scores right now. They're averaging below a 9.8 on this event. It's not going to be enough. They need these last 2 athletes to really get the scores up. That was a beautiful flip-flop layout step out. It had so much lift off the beam, which you rarely see.
She's so springy. Nice leap. I would have liked her turned a little bit more in the air, but she hits a good position.
Rhonda Fain said she is low maintenance, a real hard worker. She won the all-around in her first 4 meets as a freshman at Florida, and with the team they have, that's really something.
There's nothing that a coach likes better than an athletically talented freshman that you know you're going to have for a long time.
Way up there.
Beautiful dismount. Now that's the kind of routine they need, and that'll certainly score higher than the 9.8.
Well, I just can't say enough about this gymnast, what she combines, but especially this pop off the beam for that dismount. Beautiful.
Marissa King will be the final performer for Florida on the beam. A lot of pressure here. The score for Kytra Hunter was a big 9.875. Things looking a little bit better there.
This is one of the routines I am most excited about in this competition. She has so much difficulty. Look at that. She lands on 2 feet, front layout, gorgeous.
Oh, she is just so precise. She takes my breath away. She's just so solid, so focused. And she actually puts herself under pressure in practice every single day. Loves the pressure.
She's the reigning NCAA vault champion. She never holds back. That's what's great about her style. She's very aggressive, goes for high level of difficulty, very focused.
What I really like is I can definitely see the nerves and the tightness in her face, slight movements, but she is handling it. She is keeping herself calm and demanding of herself to come up with a big performance.
Ranked #1 in the country on beam right now.
Her average is actually above a 9.925. Can you imagine that?
Double twist.
Wow.
Great job.
Great routine. That's the kind of anchor and the kind of last routine you need to keep that momentum going.
Tell you what, for them, this was a good performance to come out on balance beam. And remember, they are on the podium. This is the first that they are competing up on the podium in the season. So many of them have to adjust to that.
So King, the 2008 Olympian from Great Britain, did her job. Ranked #1 in the country on the floor exercise, Jaime Pisani from Arkansas. This could be a treat.
She is a delightful gymnast to watch. The team is struggling right now. They have injuries. In fact, one of their top all-arounders, one of the top in the country, Catherine Grable. Hopefully will be back in time for regionals. And another girl out with a torn ACL. So it's been a tough few weeks for Arkansas.
They early in the season were ranked #1. They got off to such a terrific start, but really faded here towards the end with those unlucky injuries. Pisani, by the way, a 9-time All-American.
Watch this half in, half out double back. Wow, she just executes that technique so well on that pass. And to get out there and have to compete with 2 of your teammates injured and go the rest of the season without them is really difficult. Beautifully executed double pike at the end. Great, solid routine.
A nice performance. One for Jordan Salzberg, the one who's out with an ACL, and her teammate, Kat Grable, who will hopefully be back soon.
All right, that will conclude the performances in the first of 7 rotations. A lot of exciting gymnastics coming up. Don't go away. Welcome back to the SEC Championships. In the first rotation, Alabama did exactly what they needed to do on the uneven bars. They were solid throughout, capped off by this 9.9 for Geralen Stack-Eaton, tying a season-high score. Florida was a little bit shaky on the beam in the first rotation. Georgia did themselves solid on their weakest event, scored extremely well on the vault. Suzanne Yocklin is down with Florida's head coach, Rhonda Fain, right now.
Rhonda, you were able to get the most difficult event out of the way.
Yeah.
Not what you were hoping for, I imagine, but the last 2 gymnasts have really kept the momentum going. What do you tell them going into the locker room?
Well, I really think they did a great job. We had a few routines that were a little bit wobbly, but 50% were rock solid, I thought, so they did great. So we got the hardest event over with, and now they're just really going to be able to let it go and perform and have a blast out there. So we'll just try our best all the way through the meet.
Well, good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, Suzanne.
All right, here we get ready for the second rotation. Let's take a little preview. Alabama and LSU. Alabama will be on the beam, LSU on the floor.
I think Alabama's sitting pretty, having done so well on the uneven bars, heading to balance beam where they can compete very well, especially knowing Florida had a few little minor wobbles. LSU has a great opportunity here opening on the floor exercise.
Katrina Yoke will be up for Auburn on the vault. She's a junior out of Cameron Park, California. This is quite a young team, actually. 45% of the teams for Auburn come from freshmen this year.
Great experience they're going to get competing here at the SEC Championships. A little low on that landing. Chest was down.
Up now, Alabama on the beam. Kayla Williams, the freshman 2009 World Vaulting Champion. Here are the scores for Alabama on the beams thus far. Kim Jacob, a 9.725. Deandra Milliner, a 9.775. So the scores are similarly tight for Alabama as they were for Florida on beam.
And Suzanne, this is one of the more interesting coaching choices we've seen to put Kayla Williams on the beam. Typically, it's Marissa Gutierrez, who was a little inconsistent in a couple of meets. She's going with Kayla Williams, even though she's only competed a couple times on this event.
That's right. Well, Sarah says that she's fierce when she competes, and she's just been so aggressive the last 2 weeks. that she felt like this was worth the gamble. But Kathy, I don't know what Sarah's doing on beam. She's changing the lineup around a lot. They've had 3 or 4 different starters. But hey, you know, there's lots of different ways to get there, and if it works, who's going to question it?
You know, we talked with her the other day, and she said, I like to mix up the lineup because you never know what's going to happen. Some person might fall or somebody might get injured, and you got to mix it up at the last minute. She likes preparing the team for those eventualities.
I have no problem with that because you learn to compete wherever you are in the lineup. It doesn't matter. But I definitely see the fierceness in Kayla Williams. She's attacking the beam more than anybody thus far. You have to be aggressive. You cannot be timid. Florida is just a little timid. You've got to be bold.
Oh, my goodness.
Take control, and that's exactly what Kayla Williams did.
And that's absolutely going to be the highest scoring beam routine for today for Alabama. It was solid all the way through.
Rheagan will be up for Auburn on the vault now. Freshman as well.
Nice power on that ball. I do like the way she opened up after the twist to look for the landing. I think she's happy.
Coach Jeff Grable's so excited about this young freshman, her athleticism, her determination, and just she's really handled the pressure of the SEC.
Very dynamic, Suzanne. Look at the height above the horse. She finishes the twist. The head is still above the level of the table. Very nice.
And I loved how straight her body was.
Caitlin Choquilo now for Kentucky on the bars, the junior out of Brooklyn, Michigan. She's their anchor performer here.
Oh, nice combination. Beautiful work.
She did her club training at Getter Switch Stars, of course, which is the home club of Jordan Weber, the favorite to shoot for gold at the upcoming Olympics this year.
Oh, too bad she took a step on that dismount. Very nice work early in that routine.
And a nice routine to be able to build on in the future for their first-year head coach.
And that's Tim Garrison, first year as a head coach at Kentucky. Back over to the beam now. Geralen Stack-Eaton for Alabama.
Geralen is lovely on this event. She really has it all. The flexibility, the poise, the grace, good difficulty.
We saw Kayla Williams. She got a 9.8.
And did I mention Nerves of Steel? She's the type who can come up big in pressure situations.
Her experience alone just stands for so much. She and both Ashley Priess for the Alabama team at the end really makes a difference. And that's what experience will do for you. You fight, you don't come off, you know that every tense is going to make a difference.
Remember last year at the SEC, she had a trouble with a dismount on bars, but she came back and rocked the beam routine when they needed it.
The one thing I've noticed with both Alabama's team and Florida's team, they rock during the warm-ups. Even the 30-second warm-up, they were very calm, confident, nailed landings. They're not quite as aggressive.
It's often very difficult. Hold on.
Rheagan Courville will be on the floor at the same time for LSU. This is, as we said, a 4-ring circus.
Rheagan is one of the top all-around gymnasts in the country. Very talented, uniquely talented, frankly.
Wow.
Very nice landing on the Arabian double Arabian.
She's ranked 9th in the all-around in the U.S., 20th on floor with an RQS of almost 9.9.
LSU is doing a really nice job on floor right now. They have one counting score that's relatively low, but other than that, they're doing a great job, and they are the dark horse in this meet. But with athletes like this, you never know what can happen, because she can put up the really big scores.
Decor Courville, Aaliyah Mathis had a 9.825, Jessie Jordan a 9.85. Those are the 2 highest scores so far for LSU there. But what a difference a year makes. A year ago, LSU limped into this competition. This year, they reloaded with some incredible freshmen, 3 outstanding freshman all-arounders.
Beautiful. She's deceivingly powerful. A lot of it is because of her technique, but she's very springy for such a flexible, long, lean girl. It's nice work.
Back to the beam now for Alabama. The final performer there will be Ashley Priess.
This routine is huge. Alabama not only needs to finish this event with a strong routine for the momentum, but they could really use a high-scoring final routine to count into their total.
I can predict the rest of the routine.
Oh!
Oh, that's
Wow.
Now that's not a complete fall off the balance beam. That'll be a 2 to 3/10 deduction, but still, the last two gymnasts on this Alabama team, the two that typically put up the highest scores, did not come through with those high scores.
That's right, Geralen Stack-Eaton had a 9.65. That's their low score there so far. 9.825 is the highest score. That was Sarah DeMeo.
This is really going to hurt Alabama's total right now. They'd come off bars so strong and really could have taken advantage of Florida's problems on balance beam, but they haven't been able to capitalize on that at all.
Score for Geralen Stack-Eaton has been changed to a 9.7. Missed opportunity there for Alabama.
Yes, absolutely.
You mentioned their momentum after bars. It just fell apart here, didn't it?
They crumbled even more than Florida did. Florida just gave up slight little bobbles on a few routines because of nerves, just not attacking things.
I'm really surprised. I wasn't expecting Alabama to do that at all. You never know what's going to happen on the balance beam, though. That's one event you just cannot predict, ever.
Well, this is a routine you won't forget. This is LSU's Lomincia Hall. They call her Mincy, and she's something to watch. That's all I can say.
She is loving it out there.
Wow.
Who didn't want this energy?
Well, just such a different routine than Rheagan Courville, who just went. So the dynamics really change, and you can see the strategy of Didi putting her up last.
She's ranked 6th in the NCAA on the floor, has a 9.9 average this year.
Talk about athletic and amplitude. My gosh, I think you can stand underneath her leaps and jumps.
Her teammate Rheagan Courville had a 9.875.
And this is going to score higher than that. She has been solid on every single landing. Hasn't even moved her feet.
As you can tell, the crowd loves it. Her teammates love it. And often the judges like it. So, could be a big score.
LSU rocked it on the floor. We'll be back with more of the SEC Championship coming right back. Don't go away. And welcome back to the SEC Championship. A highlight in the second rotation for the LSU Tigers. Lomincia Hall lit it up with this routine, scoring a 9.925.
Talk about playing to the crowd. She really let loose.
Here are the standings after 2 rotations. Alabama is the only team here who's done 2 events, so they have a 98.1. Georgia then LSU. Suzanne is down with Alabama's Sarah Patterson right now.
Sarah, you got off to an unbelievable start on the uneven bars, and unfortunately you were not able to capitalize that on the balance beam. What happened?
Well, you know, I just think we had some small errors. Our lowest score was a 9.7, but, you know, we had some 10s that we gave away. So I just think in this type of environment, it can happen to anyone, and we just have to come back rocking on the last 2 events.
Well, good luck the rest of the competition.
There were some uncharacteristic bobbles for the Crimson Tide on beam. Geralen Stack-Eaton.
Completely unexpected from these 2 top performers and former SEC champions on this event, Geralen and Ashley as well, who just hand slipped, saved the fall, but a big deduction.
So not what the Crimson Tide had hoped in the second rotation for them on the balance beam. Set up the third rotation now. Arkansas moves to the vault. Georgia had a great start on the vault. They go to a very good event for them, the bars. Kentucky will be on the beam. And let's see if Florida can pick it up on the floor after a slightly disappointing opening beam performance.
Now, Florida really needs to nail the landings on this event floor exercise. They have yet to do that this season, but they are powerful and strong. They have great tumbling. Georgia needs to step up the intensity even more on the uneven bars. A great event for them.
Shayla Worley now for Georgia on the bars.
This is a key routine for Georgia. They are smoking over there. Oh, no.
She was so
that's
close.
what I'm saying about key. She hits it or she misses it. She's never hit somewhere in the middle. And that was too bad. They really had their momentum building after 2 great routines before her.
Very unexpected. You and I talked after the workouts yesterday. She really looked like she was going to have a great competition.
The first 2 scores for Georgia on the bars were Krista Tanella 9.85. Noel Couch had a 9.775. Big missed opportunity there for the Gym Dogs. All right, Alaina Johnson now for Florida on the floor. Scores Amy Ferguson 9.8, Randy Stageberg 9.875. So Florida is responding after their opening rotation on the beam.
This is a huge routine right now because Alaina can go either way. She's, of all the athletes, the one that's had the most difficulty, but she has tremendous potential.
Wow, great landing. And I love that this routine is different, both with the music, the choreography.
And what you do when the music is different, Kathy, you stick it right in the middle of your lineup so you can give the crowd a little bit of a break from all that honky-tonk and slow things down, and it's such a nice variation.
I love it. It just draws the audience in, saying, makes you watch her.
She's one of those highly touted former national team members on this Gator team.
Well, like I said earlier, she's had some trouble this season with her landings, but not tonight. She really looks like she's on.
On the bars for Georgia right now, Chelsea Davis.
Big, beautiful release move. They need a big routine right here, coming back from Shayla Worley's routine.
And they're probably going to get it because Chelsea sticks 90% of the time, and she scored above a 9.925 3 of the last 4 times out.
A little bit of a bounce on that final landing. The pike double back, unexpected.
Beautiful dismount from Chelsea Davis.
Ashanee Dickerson now for Florida on the floor.
Another double Arabian to open, and you remember Alaina Johnson did a double Arabian. The officials really look for those legs together on that skill, and they're going to deduct if they are not together.
At the same time, Georgia's Gina Nuccio on the bars.
Who has struggled with a back issue the entire season, but they've managed it well. And she can contribute here on this event, particularly with that dismount.
Let's look at that dismount again. Oh my gosh, it's definitely one of the best full twisting double backs off bars because she actually opens as she comes onto the floor.
Score for Alaina Johnson was a 9.775 after that botched landing. Randy Stageberg had a 9.875 so far. That's the high score for Florida. Bailey Zumwalt for Arkansas on the ball.
Well, she came up with a good landing. The vault wasn't really high, but she's excited to stick it so well.
Arkansas's fired up to have a good rotation after that, the problems that they had on floor exercise.
Rhonda Fain said she's gotten more comfortable as a performer this year. Dickerson seems to just be loosening up a little bit in front of the crowd.
This routine is huge for Georgia. I'm Jay Clark sitting there thinking not only will this be a big score that we can add into our bar total, but it can give us the momentum we need going into balance beam.
We're trying to replace that 9.5 that Shayla Worley earned.
And if she hits her potential here, it will score above a 9.9.
Gina Nuccio had a 9.85.
So far, everything looks technically very, very well done. She's hit all her handstands.
Let's see if she can get this landing.
That's right. It's the only thing left.
Oh, almost. Not quite.
Everybody seems a little tight in this competition. You're not seeing the execution of the landings like we have done, like we've seen during the regular season.
And back to the floor, Marissa King. Double layout for Florida.
It looked like that might have stung a little when she landed, but she certainly didn't show it on her face.
Ashanee Dickerson's score was a 9.775.
I know Rhonda told me this is a new floor exercise, Matt. It's a little tight. They have to work it hard. And when you're doing these big tricks.
A lot of balance mistakes right there in that second tumbling pass. seems like every team on the competition floor right now is having problems in different places. No one is really coming out here and executing perfectly like you would expect during postseason.
The one thing that the coaches can be thinking, though, is there's still room to go up leading into the NCAA championships. Now she got the landing.
Yes. Now, Rhonda, no one is thinking about score today. They're thinking about win.
Yes, exactly. These SEC championships are highly competitive.
And typically, the scores are a little bit tighter at the championship time of the season, so the athletes know it, and the coaches have told them to expect it.
That's right, and no matter who wins today, it's probably going to be with a lower score than what the team has had as an RQS coming into the competition.
In her 10th year, Rhonda Fain running the Gator program with that extremely talented group of young ladies. She, as I mentioned, has recruited so many former elite national team members to her program.
And one thing she's doing differently this season is really trying to peak for the postseason, and most important, protect these bodies. Last year, by postseason, they were hurting ankles, taking all those hard landings. So she, at the beginning of the season, decided to pace. She's got to not work these hard landings right at the very beginning, but to ease into them, and really started working on stuck landings about 2 weeks ago.
Well, she's got to be disappointed right now. I mean, we're in postseason. This is the SEC Championships. A number of her high-level athletes have not had solid landings, and it's costing them more than they can afford to lose. This is the event that Rhonda has said over and over that should be potentially the highest scoring event for the Gators. And you can see it in the lineup. I mean, they are so deep with talent and athleticism. And Kytra Hunter is a perfect example of that.
Well, you see it in the tumbling. They've got the great tumbling. They just have to come up with the landings now. Getting used to competing on the podium. And tight floor or not, you still have to be able to attack those landings.
You know, I'm personally not surprised at all, because consistency, confidence comes from consistency. And when you haven't been competing every week and you haven't been solid during the regular season, you go into the championships with a question mark in your head.
Watch this final tumbling pass. It's really unique. An open double tuck. She has so much power and technique. She does it easily.
Oh, that is phenomenal. Bet you wish you could do that, Bart.
No kidding. Incredible power.
That's one of the best routines of the evening.
Absolutely.
The spectacular freshman Kytra Hunter out of Hills Gymnastics in Maryland. Score for Marissa King was a 9.85. The high score for Florida on floor, Randy Stageberg, a 9.875. When we come back, we'll have Kytra Hunter's score and the update at this point in the competition. This is the SEC on ESPN. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Welcome back to Duluth, Georgia. The SEC Women's Gymnastics Championships. Our top three teams, as expected, Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. At this point in the competition, all three of those teams have actually done 2 events each. Georgia seems to be competing closest to their season average, Suzanne.
Absolutely. They came on fire on vaulting and started out so strong and went over to uneven bars and stuck a number of landings. So they are right on pace for scoring a mid-196, and that may be enough to win tonight.
They're definitely out-competing Florida and Alabama. I think what we're seeing from Florida and Alabama are stress, nervous mistakes. Alabama more so than Florida on balance beam. So at least Florida goes to 2 high-scoring events for them. Alabama can settle down and perform on the floor exercise.
And keep in mind, Georgia has yet to go to the beam. Both Alabama and Florida have done beam, and that's the nervous event. And Georgia has not yet competed on the beam, but they're going there now. This is Laura Moffatt. Boy, she delivered a clutch performance in last year's SEC championship, didn't she, after the injury to Lindsey Cheek.
She did. She actually scored a 9.875. And she just came into the Georgia lineup at the end of the season, the last 4 or 5 competitions. And she has hit every single one with a score above a 9.8, so she is solid and a great person to have early in the lineup.
Noel Couch open with a 9.775, so they're off to a very solid start if they can just keep it going.
I love this athlete because she's just not bothered at all from competition. She just gets up there and does her thing and looks just so relaxed. She's hit all of her difficulties so far. She only has the standing layout yet to go, so no major mistakes at all, and this looks like it's going to be a good score for Georgia.
Hard to believe early in the year she suffered a concussion on balance beam.
And that's actually what kept her out of the lineup for the first half of the season. Now, Georgia just settled into a beam lineup in the last few weeks. They have not counted a fall the entire season. The only team in the SEC who has not counted a fall on any event. They are definitely the team of consistency.
Ashley Lee now for LSU on the vault. What a meet they're having.
They are having a fantastic meet. They have huge scores and stuck landings. We have a 9.825, a 9.9, and another 9.825.
They are another team that's getting every single thing they possibly can out of their athletes right now.
Well, it's the one thing coming into a competition where you have absolutely nothing to lose. You have been improving all season long. Just go big.
Back to the balance beam now for Georgia.
Kat has gotten more consistent on this event. Really, earlier in her career and earlier in the season, she was a little less confident on this event.
I can't even tell you how much she's improved since her freshman year. She couldn't even get close to getting in the beam lineup her freshman year. But she is just a tiger. I mean, she wants to compete. She wants to compete in every single event.
The scores for Georgia on the beam so far: Noel Couch a 9.775, Laura Moffatt a 9.825.
I can't emphasize enough how important these SEC championships are to these gymnasts, and that adds extra pressure. And it's just something they have to learn to deal with, accept, and then try to channel and focus their adrenaline in a positive way.
And so much of the preparation is mental, and you really wonder how much time the coaches actually spend on that mental preparation. Because when you get under pressure, that's when you revert back and make mistakes that you normally don't make.
The reason why I say we're seeing some nervous errors, some stress errors, is that I watch them work out and do the warm-up. And there's just a difference in the attack on the landing. You have to be bold. You cannot be timid on this event. And yet you have to stay calm.
Now back to the vault for LSU. Rheagan, Courville. Their scores are amazing over there. 9.925 for Ashley Lee. The only low score, unfortunately, for Lomincia Hall was a 9.275.
Wow. Boy, they have some big vaults. Really nice, open, laid-out position, flaring after the twist.
But Dee Dee told me that vaulting is definitely their strongest event, regardless of scores. She feels like it's their strongest event, and they showed that today.
Allison Sandusky for Auburn on the bars now.
Very strong routine for Auburn. They have scores ranging from 9.65 to 9.775.
It's so difficult to have a new coach and then try to break into this crazy competition in the SEC. There's so many strong teams, and you have to compete against these teams every single week.
Kaylan Earls now for Georgia on the beam.
Kaylan is a sophomore, but she's a redshirt sophomore, as she did not compete her freshman year due to a torn ACL, and she's just been rock solid for them on balance beam the entire season.
She hits her big combination and has a tiny little bobble after her leap combination.
Ashley Priess for Alabama on the floor at the same time.
Alabama's doing very well over on the floor exercise. Scores from 9.825 to 9.85, so very, very strong scores.
Their leadoff performer, Kim Jacob, had the 9.85. Deandra Milliner and Ashley Sledge both the 9.825s.
Scores are tight in this competition. Nothing like a dual meet.
Oh, great routine. Big step on that very difficult double back dismount.
I like to see Ashley Priess up her difficulty on floor a little bit. I know that she's had such bad ankles, it's difficult to do.
Well, it's the one thing you have to do, especially with the older gymnast in college, one who's had 2 ankle surgeries. You have to manage those and get them through the entire season, so you sort of have to be smart.
That's right, and that's what Sarah says has been her priority this year, is managing the athletes, making sure everyone has enough time to rest, that they stay healthy till the end.
Kylie Shields for Auburn on the bars now.
Kylie's had such an unbelievable career at Auburn, competing all around in almost every single meet. She's had a little bit of an ankle problem this year. Wow, that was a great double layout dismount for her.
And a strong double pike from Ashley to end her floor routine. Another great performance for Alabama on floor.
Alabama's doing a great job over there on floor. Definitely have raised it up a level from what they did on balance beam.
That was beautiful.
On the balance beam now for Georgia, Sarah Persinger.
I have loved watching this athlete this year. She's so graceful and has so much poise and elegance on the beam and does a lot of different skills with just her movement.
It's always refreshing to see the variety.
She's been 10 for 10 for Georgia this year. You could see that coming off the back handspring, that she had one shoulder drop down a little bit, so I'm just glad to see that she stayed on that layout. She will not get the combination bonus there because she waited too long before she did the jump.
Marissa Gutierrez for Alabama on the beam, on the floor, pardon me.
And we've remarked on this gymnast, she has been such a strong contributor to this Alabama team.
And watch this double layout that she opens with. It's just so beautiful. Straight body, no arch. And to think that she just didn't start doing that until the midway of last year's season.
Solid routine on balance beam. Great job, Georgia.
9-9 was the score for Ashley Priess.
When you get to this point of the competition, you have to start comparing teams on the same events. Alabama is definitely outperforming Florida on floor exercise right now.
You read my mind. I was thinking Florida warmed up the floor mat for them. And they kind of took it from there.
Yeah, Alabama following Florida.
But Florida handled the pressure better over on balance beam.
That's right. But Alabama following Florida seems to have been to their advantage on this event.
Shayla Worley now on beam for Georgia.
And this is a lovely routine, and you have to hope she comes up big here after her mistake on bars. I don't know what happened on bars, but wow, she pulled that back on.
She sure did. I'm Jake Clark right now. I'm nervous. They need a big score from her, and you don't know what she's going to do. She could fall once, she could fall twice, she could get a 9.95. Anything's possible.
Sarah Persinger had a 9.8.
I find myself really rooting for this young lady. She seems to have had such a difficult time her first couple years in collegiate gymnastics. You just want her to hit her full stride.
Ranked 6th in the country with an average of 9.89.
And she's had disc issues with her back her entire collegiate career. And that's hard to manage. You cannot do the numbers necessary to feel fully confident.
Geralen Stack-Eaton for Alabama, their final performer on the floor.
Oh, unfortunately, she really needed to combine those last 2 elements. She was a little bit off.
But now that's been the story of balance beam tonight. Everybody just a little bit off.
And this is a gorgeous routine to just enjoy. for Alabama. Geralen Stack-Eaton is so beautiful on this event and dynamic as well.
You can see why she's the reigning NCAA champion on the floor. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Welcome back to the SEC Championship. Here are the scores after the 4th rotation. You see Alabama in the lead, Georgia in second. Those are the only 2 teams that have actually done 3 performances to this point. LSU having a terrific meet in 3rd currently. In this next rotation, Florida goes to the vault where they need a big performance. Arkansas to the bars, Auburn to the beam, and Kentucky to the floor. Rachel Spicer now for Florida on the vault.
And they need a huge vault rotation here. They need stuck landings, big vaults and stuck landings.
They need momentum. Getting those stuck landings early in the lineup will give them that momentum that they need to push those scores even higher at the end.
Rhonda Fain said that this is probably their weakest event because they really haven't focused on stuck landings. They're trying to save the ankles for this part of the season.
I love this gymnast, and this is the type of athlete you want on your team, someone who can contribute so consistently to the team effort.
Rachel Spicer had a 9.825.
Boy, you can see the concentration on her face. Good vault, but giving up some deductions on those landings.
Those steps are going to kill them, you know. Just 1/10 on 5 steps is 5/10 of a point. That'll make a difference in a championship every single time.
Ashanee Dickerson now. The score for Nicole Ellis was a 9.775. Opening performance, 9.825 for Rachel Spicer. They need stronger scores here if they're going to move back into the lead.
Ashanee has a very big vault that she can hone in on this landing right here.
There it is. There it is. That's what Florida was looking for right there.
Well, she lands standing straight up and down. That's really impressive.
She did.
You could see her will herself into this landing all the way down the runway. It was stick, stick, stick.
It's almost like she knew she was going to stick it. I love that. She's like, okay, here I go. Boom.
Alaina Johnson now for Florida on the vault.
And she is the sticker on the team.
Ashanee Dickerson had a 9.9.
Wow, she can build from that score. Another stick right in a row will build the scores.
Beautiful height.
Gorgeous.
Just a slight adjustment with the back leg.
I loved it, though. I love the straight body. I love the balance.
Beautiful pop off the table. Tight twist, and just slides that 1 foot back into position.
We see so many of the gymnasts doing the same style vault. This Yurchenko with a full. Marissa King does a completely different style. I'm not so she's adequately rewarded for how difficult the vault is that she goes
She's
for.
never adequately rewarded because they don't really appreciate just how hard this thing is. It takes so much speed, so much power, technique, all wrapped in one.
Her teammate Alaina Johnson had a 9.9, so Florida could move back into the lead with another strong vault.
1.5 twist.
Yes, that's a beautiful vault. They need that vault right now. Remember, Alabama's going to be following them on vaulting, and they've got to set the bar high because Alabama's an unbelievable vaulting team. So they need that big score. This is what happens when you put 4 gymnasts at the end of your lineup that are this strong. The scores just build and build and build.
They're finally attacking and going after it. Leave no prisoners. That's bold. And
such a difficult vault.
And how many times has she stepped up when they needed it? She is the key clutch performer there.
Absolutely. You got to remember here, too, you've got Georgia in the locker room, Alabama in the locker room. They're
Kytra
watching
Hunter
this.
will be the final vaulter now for Florida.
And you can't believe how beautiful this vault. She does it so effortlessly. It's a 1.5 twist. Yurchenko, so she'll do the roundup entry, unlike her teammate Marissa.
Marissa King had a 9.925, a season high.
Watch her sky blue, see if she can stick. Beautiful.
Such another difficult vault, just one after another. They are on fire right now. Like I said, Alabama and Georgia, they know exactly what's happening. The bar has been raised.
We mentioned at the top of this segment that Florida needs to average more than a 9.84. They will move back into the lead after this performance. even without the score.
Just incredible rotation for Florida on this event. Great difficulty, phenomenal height, distance, and landings.
Great job on the vault when Florida needed it. They got one more rotation to go. They're going to finish up on the bars. Welcome back to the SEC Championship. In that rotation, Florida rocked the vault, scoring their third highest score in program history. The other big story is LSU having the meet of the year. They're heading over to the uneven bars next. Here are the standings after the fifth rotation. Florida, Alabama, and Georgia. Florida and Alabama are separated by .325. Georgia just 25 thousandths of a point behind Alabama. All three of those teams have one performance to go. In the sixth rotation, Alabama will be on the vault, LSU the bars, Arkansas the beam, Georgia on the floor, and you can see the byes. Kentucky, Florida, and Auburn are on a bye.
Well, and you could definitely say that both LSU and Florida have loosened up the judges on vault with huge vaults and big scores, so maybe Alabama, if they can stick these landings, can take advantage of following them.
Ashley Sledge now after two 9.875s for Caitlin Clark and Ashley Priess. The All-American on the vault last year has a great opportunity.
Well, she is extremely capable on this event. Very exciting dynamics. Little pike in that position and a little hop on the landing. They're little things on a big ball.
They know what's at stake right here. I mean, they know exactly what's at stake, and they know that they've got to put up the big scores. And I like that she was aggressive. She did not hold back to go for the stick. She was really aggressive on the amplitude and the dynamic off the table.
Cat ding for Georgia on the floor. As good as she is, she hasn't quite been as polished as she normally is.
No, just didn't have the stuck landings, missed the landing on the vault. Even her bar landing was not perfect. But she's been competing in the all-around every meet and competing well, and is certainly up in the rankings.
We've said this so many times about Georgia. They really don't have the superstar all-arounders. You know, Kat Ding is just doing the all-around for the first time in her career. She's usually a big scorer on vault and bars, but floor and beam have been new events for her.
It's got to be a great feeling, though, to finish your collegiate career so strong in the all-around, competing well, had extraordinary success on the uneven bars.
Ashley Sledge had a 9.8725. Geralen Stack-Eaton now for Alabama on ball.
Geralen, oh, she usually combines prettiness with dynamics. Unfortunately, she came up short on that.
She's thinking about the stick instead of thinking about the direction off the table. I always tell the athletes, direction, direction, direction. The stick will be there. You can't think about it.
Marissa Gutierrez now on the vault. The score for Geralen Stack-Eaton at 9.725.
Very disappointing for Geralen. Got to make it up here.
They did. That's what they want. The first big stick for Alabama. There's another one. LSU is really solid on the bars. You can't count them out.
Rheagan Courville has done extremely well in this competition. LSU unfortunately had a missed bar routine, the landing on the dismount. First up, kind of stumbled her. Actually, their second gymnast, Kaylee Dickerson, has a 9.15. They want to drop that score.
Shayla Worley on the floor now for Georgia. This is one of those performances, Kathy, you like to just sit back and appreciate it, isn't it?
You got it. It's lovely.
Well, unlike most athletes, she only does 2 tumbling passes. She gets a lot of her bonus from her dance.
Deandra Milliner now, the final vaulter for Alabama.
vault, but big hop on the landing.
That is a huge deduction, not what they wanted.
One of my favorite routines of the competition, a lovely floor routine by Shayla Worley. Good for her.
Sari Morrison will be the final performer for LSU on the bars.
So glad to have her back in the lineup, at least on this event. She's superb.
Her teammate Rheagan Courville had a 9.875 just before her.
Again, they have a 9.15 they want to drop. The rest of the scores are solid, not quite like their vault scores, but they've gone 9.7 all the way up to a 9.875. So decent range of scores. Oh, I take that step back. You got to fight for those landings.
Noel Couch now, the final performer for Georgia on the floor.
And this could be a very big score for Georgia. Nice way to finish out this rotation. Noel has done extraordinarily well all season long.
Ranked 4th in the NCAA on this event.
Tied with Lamencia Hall, actually, in the ranking.
She has the most difficulty of any of the Georgia gymnasts. And this is the first time she's an anchor on the event for Georgia, and she has just really loved that position. I love this athlete. I mean, she puts everything out there every day.
I was happy to meet her parents in the lobby of the hotel and hear how proud they are of her, especially how hard she works and devotes herself to the team and to her performance.
Enjoyed that.
Yes,
very nice
job.
routine. Georgia did a great job in this competition tonight. Just consistent all the way through, no major mistakes, just probably not quite enough to win it, but a great competition for them.
And so Florida coming off a bye, they'll move to the uneven bars where they're the #1 team in the country, and they know what score they need if they're going to pull off the SEC Championship this year. And welcome back to the SEC Championship. I'm Bart Connor along with Suzanne Yocklin and Kathy Johnson-Clark. Ready now for the 7th and final rotation. Here are the scores, and you can see how close they are. Alabama has the lead, 0.2 of a point over Georgia. Arkansas is in 3rd. Florida's going to be coming up on the bars in this rotation. Kathy?
Oh, huge event for them. They're ranked #1 in the country, so they are capable of gigantic scores on this event. I love their bar work, and if they can stick the landings, they just might go out of reach.
Now, in terms of competing to their potential, LSU is having a terrific meet, and they're going to have to go to the beam, unfortunately.
Unbelievable competition for LSU tonight, competing above their season average on every single event. They are lights out, and they warmed up being fabulous. I don't know if they've got enough to win the championship, but they certainly have a good chance of being in the top 3.
All right, University of Florida knows what they need to do on the bars now. Kytra Hunter is their 3rd performer on bars.
Watch this release move. Great, because she actually missed it in the last home meet, so I'm sure that was a little bit in her head.
It's interesting watching her, Suzanne. I don't know what she feels on the inside, but she is as cool and calm on the outside as can be. Wow, huge.
She has had an unbelievable night on every single event, just posting the big scores for Florida right when they need them.
Her dismount is as big and beautiful as it gets. Full twisting double back, knees tight together, toes pointed, and a great landing.
The score for her teammate, by the way, Ashanee Dickerson, was a 9.75. Remember, Florida has to average just over a 9.8 to move back into first place. LSU now We'll have Jessie Jordan, their final performer there. Rheagan Courville had a 9.85. But Randy Lau had a low 9.25, so a lot of extra pressure on her to have 5 quality counting scores here.
She is absolutely gorgeous on this event. Flows so well from skill to dance, in and out. It's truly a nice performance.
And Dee Dee has her in this anchor position because she is so solid, and you just know that she's going to go out there and hit every single time.
Watching her in training, then the 30-second warm-up, she is just always so solid. Any little correction she has to make, she does it so well, almost imperceptible.
This is a big routine for LSU because they could end up finishing this competition in the top 3. It's very, very close right now.
Jessie Jordan, 16th ranked in the country on this event, 17th in the all-around.
Well, they'll be able to drop that low score, and what a fabulous routine to end on.
Just a terrific day for LSU all around. Mackenzie Caquatto will be the next performer for Rhonda Fain's Florida Gators. She's another one of those U.S. national team members. In fact, she has a silver medal in the 2010 World Championships.
And she is a super bar worker. She has a nice repertoire to choose from, so they've changed her routine around throughout the season.
Wow, lots of difficulty back and forth from the low bar to the high bar and back again. Very interesting, unique combinations. And there's the stuff dismount.
Well, you can really see that elite level technique. Superb form, but everything is just done so exceptionally well.
You know, she's been limited this year because her ankles have been a real problem. Had an injection just recently, a couple of weeks ago, to try to calm down the inflammation.
But, you know, Rhonda's been really smart. She had an off week between the last 2 regular season competitions, and she was able to sit out some of the athletes, Mackenzie being one of them, and give them almost a 2-week rest before going into postseason.
Alaina Johnson, the final performer for Florida on the bars. Score for Mackenzie Caquatto was a 9.9.
I love that release. She gets so much swing. This is the exclamation point at the end of the lineup.
Beautiful combinations, and she just really combines it with such artistry on this event. Straight lines, pointed toes. Let's see if she can stick the landing on the double leg.
Absolutely. You had to have that stick at the end of a terrific competition for Florida.
I think it was a double exclamation mark.
Double.
Florida trying to win its 8th SEC title in their history, the 3rd under Coach Rhonda Fain. She won in 2007 and 2010. All right, when we come back, we'll have the score for that spectacular performance for Alaina Johnson. Did the Florida Gators get their 8th SEC title? They think so, but we'll find out when we come back. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Well, the top-ranked Florida Gators pulled it off. They won the 2012 SEC Championship. Alaina Johnson's 9.925 in the final performance capped off a terrific performance for the Gators. Here are the final scores. By just less than 0.4 of a point, Florida over Alabama and Georgia in 3rd. Well, Kathy, let's analyze the competition. We said at the top that Florida has so much talent and so much depth, but they still had to perform. They got off to a little bit of a rough start on the beam, didn't they?
They definitely scared themselves. They buckled a little bit under the pressure. Starting on beam is never easy. So in a way, they actually did well because they got better throughout the lineup. Then they went to floor exercise, did much better, didn't quite come up with the landings they needed. But once they got to vault, it was, oh my gosh, through the roof. Skied the vault and then stuck the landing.
They stuck 4 out of 6 vaults. Impressive.
They became the team that we expected them to be throughout the competition.
What about the Crimson Tide?
What a roller coaster ride. Start off really strong on the uneven bars. Thought they would carry that over on balance beam, especially if they knew that Florida had faltered slightly there. They faltered even more. I think it was just pressure and nerves. Then outcompeted everybody on floor exercise, but didn't stick vault landings. That made the difference.
Now, Georgia competed close to their potential, but they had some missed opportunities, didn't they?
Got to feel so good about themselves. They did miss a couple opportunities. I would have loved to seen Shayla Worley hit that bar routine. That could have made a big difference. But they were the most consistent team of the bunch.
What about LSU?
Oh.
They're so much fun to watch, and they're so young.
What a smile they put on my face. And we kind of expected that, just watching them, and they were so loose. They had nothing to lose, and you get to see how a team can perform when they're in that situation.
All right, let's go down to Suzanne Yocklin, who is with Florida Gators head coach Rhonda Fain.
Congratulations, Rhonda. Wow, it's amazing that you were able to come through at the end with such an outstanding performance after that slow start.
It was a really rough start for us, and I just told the athletes, just you keep pushing to the very end, and we just went lights out on vault and then finished up extremely strong on bars, and I'm just really proud of the way they fought and did not give up.
Absolutely, and Kytra Hunter winning the SEC title as an all-around gymnast, the first time you've had a freshman win that all-around since 1983 when Elfie Schlegel won.
I've said that from the beginning, that I feel like she's one of the best, if not the best, all-arounder in the country. And coming in as a freshman to win here, I'm really proud of her. She's worked so hard, and she's such a team player. So couldn't have happened to a better person.
Well, congratulations on taking home Florida's 8th SEC title.
And congratulations once again to the Florida Gators. Next stop for us, by the way, on ESPN is the 2012 NCAA Gymnastics Championship. We hope you'll join us for that. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. For Kathy Johnson-Clark, Suzanne Yocklin, and our entire SEC Gymnastics crew, I'm Bart Connor. Goodbye from Duluth, Georgia. We're glad you've joined us for the 2012 SEC Gymnastics Championship.